Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here coming at you from the Knife Center, and it's our favorite time of the week because we've got some cool new knives in front of us, and they just might be the coolest that have just hit our shelves. Should we find out? All right, we're going to start this week with a couple knives that actually won some awards at the Blade Show 2 weekends ago now. The first is the newest entry into Ken Onion's Karbon brand, and working with a new factory. This won the award for the Best Knife Collaboration of the Year, I believe it was. Knife Collaboration of the Year, Blade Show 2024. This is the Buckhorn from Karbon Knives, and it is, I think, not only the coolest carbon knife release that they have done so far, but it's also like the most distinctively Ken Onion design as well. Like, look at that, and it's immediately like, oh yeah, that's a Ken Onion design, and it is very cool. What do we got here? You got $270. You got milled titanium handles, and those are, in my opinion, the star of the show here. I mean, just look at them. You got multiple textures, lines here, and sort of a more jeweled finish on the front and the tail side of the handle, and that repeats on the back. Repeats on the sculpted pocket clip as well. And let me just turn this over. Check out that shape. That is a very, very cool shape. It's visually arresting and holds your hand in place quite nicely as well. And makes this, 3.75-inch bladed titanium frame lock flipper feel a lot more nimble than you might expect it to. Blade shape, hybrid. Very Ken Onion. If you want to call it that. It's almost like a sheep's footy tip on a what would otherwise be mostly a drop point blade shape. It's interesting. Call it a blade, or call it a drop point on the website in any case. So there you go. S35 VN steel, a very fine matte finish going on. Very cool. Like the high flat grind and the long swedge there. That's quite nice. And then that other cool accent is that pivot. It almost looks like a shell casing right there. I mean, just very cool. And you got the name Buckhorn and 87.8 2024 there. What's 87.8? Why do I not know this? Any ideas, Thomas?
Numbers.
They are numbers. Mystery solved. There you go. Very cool and easy to see why this took the win. I mean, everything is finished very, very nicely. It feels exceptionally premium. Another Ken Onion style touch here. Check out the thumb studs. Angled with some jimping on it. Very reminiscent of what you might find on the Kershaw Blur. A very long established and classic Ken Onion design at this point as well. Very cool. Very subtle branding too for those folks who don't like billboarding on the blade. The brand is right there in the spine, just engraved in or milled in. Very, very nice. The next up is the winner of the Imported Fixed Blade of the Year. And although I'm a little bit salty that this beat out the Pocket Tango, which was also under consideration for that category, my own knife design, but putting that aside, I actually really like this knife. It is the GiantMouse GMF1-XL. And it takes the smaller GMF1, which was always a nice little knife, and transforms it into something that is a little more, it feels more noteworthy, I should say. It's really cool. As for the blade, it is a little bit over 3 inches long, and steel, there's 2 grades. For about $195, you can get this version right here with N690, a conventional stainless, paired with canvas micarta handles. If you want an upgrade in edge retention, you can get the LMAX steel version. That comes with a brass handle, $245 for that version. So take your pick. As far as that handle, it's pretty small given the size of the blade. It's really not even a 3.5 finger grip for me. I can kind of anchor my pinky off the back end, but it's behind the handle. I'm not actually getting any grip really from that pinky. But it still feels like you have good control over that modified sheep's foot blade right there. And you see me doing this with the pinch grip right here. That's because that also feels like a very natural way to hold the knife due to that large hole right in front of the handle scales right there. Gives you a place to anchor, gives you a little extra surface area and traction, and it reinforces the belief in my head that this is an EDC-friendly fixed blade that could handle a bit of food prep as well. I mean, it's this modified sheep's foot shape, which makes a great utility knife. Of course, it's got enough belly on it that it kind of behaves like a drop point in some instances. And it also can lean into like that Santoku style vibe of kitchen knife. And are you gonna be prepping big, huge meals with it? No, but if you need something out on the go, it's got the kind of drop to the handle or drop to the edge from the handle and the amount of belly that you could slice really nicely on a cutting board. And hanging off the edge, you could even do a little bit of mincing with it. I like that an awful lot. Size-wise, it is borderline pocketable, but the sheath is not made for pocket carry. Belt loop here and a simple snap to keep it in place once it is in the sheath right there. Everything feels good. I like the grip on it. I like the crown spine. These, I believe, yep, these are made in Maniago, Italy. The crown spine is very on point for an Italian-made knife. I like the stone-washed finish on this one as well. A lot of good stuff to love. Check it out. Next up, releasing today actually, is the new premium versions, of the Benchmade Bushcrafter, the recently relaunched 163 versions, and the 165 mini Bushcrafter as well. Here we go, $450 for the large one, a little bit less for the small, $432 right there. As for the size of the small, the blade is about a little bit over 3¼ inches long. You've got CruWear blade steel on both of these and carbon fiber handles, same shape as the G10 versions, but the carbon fiber should take a little bit of weight out. The CruWear is going to be a tougher blade steel than the S30V on the G10 versions, which if you're curious on the prices on those, $342 for the mini and $360 for the large. So it's about 90 bucks cheaper than either of these carbon fiber versions. Let's move on to the large real quick, or the full size, I should say. Blade length here is a little over 4 inches. Let me just do a quick confirmation here. Yeah, about 4 3/8 of an inch, a hair over than that actually. Same CruWear steel, same carbon fiber handles. You got the flared tubes in those handles to facilitate lashing if you want. And just a nice stout blade overall. It's about a saber height flat grind on there, a little bit of a fuller for some character, and not too thin. It's got enough sturdiness there to really pound on this if you need to. Not a crisp spine, but you do have a crisp sharpening choil here if you want to strike a fire steel off of that section. And that's something the original Bushcrafter, the 162, never really had, was, without modifying anyway, a way to strike a fire steel built in. And that's one thing that they've done on this knife amongst a host of small tweaks that make it more of a bushcraft knife, I think, than the original Bushcrafter. The first, or the other thing that it shares with that original Bushcrafter is the handles look blocky, but in the hand, they don't actually feel as blocky as they look. They actually feel pretty good and pretty comfortable for some heavy use. I like the pinch grips on these too as well. That's always been a nice feature. As far as the sheaths for these knives, they are injection molded. It's the same design, just sized up or down, depending on which one you're getting here. It looks like it should be a button release here, but really it's more of just a nice molded push point for your thumb, making that very comfortable when you go to release it. But retention is, as you can see, clicks in, no problem. On the side, you can see we've got an injection molded fire steel holder, so you can carry that along with your sheath. And as far as positioning it on your belt, it comes with 2 snap straps, like so. So you see what kind of thing you're dealing with there. You can take it on or off as needed. And you've got the fail-safe of having an extra snap in case one of them were to pop loose on you. And if you don't like that, between the holes and the slot here on the side, you should be able to rig up a lot of different aftermarket stuff if you wish. Next up, we've got some case knives, some fairly expensive case knives. These are a little more special than the kind of entry-level or baseline case stuff. They call these second cut jig burnt goldenrod bone. That is the handle. And these are coming with Damascus steel blades. And might be one of the best looking case knives in the entire lineup. Just really, really nice. I'm not sure whether this is a carbon or a stainless Damascus. My guess would be it's carbon steel, but that's just a guess on my part. But here you see it on the trapper pattern. This is gonna run about 300 bucks right now. But you can also get this on several other of the classic case knife patterns, the Sodbuster Jr., the Mini Trapper, the Texas Toothpick, and the Peanut at this point in time is what we've got in stock. I mean, just beautiful. Just so nice. Love that Damascus. Let's see. Should I lick it to see if it's carbon steel or not? No, I won't do that. I won't do that. This knife not licked by David Anderson. They're gorgeous. I don't know what else to say about them. I mean, they're just gorgeous. Check them out. Next up, I was talking about Santoku's earlier. We've got a new kitchen knife, not just any new kitchen knife. This is the first, as far as I know it, official Joy of Cooking kitchen knife. Joy of Cooking, if you're unfamiliar with it, does have a sort of crossover into the knife world that we know and love. Ethan Becker of Becker Knife and Tool is the third generation author of the Joy of Cooking as well. The man of many talents. So we know he knows how to design a knife, of course. And these knives were done in collaboration between Ethan Becker and Dan Eastland of Dogwood Custom Knives. It's such a cool partnership there. Dan is a phenomenal maker of kitchen knives. These are not full-on customs. These are semi-production knives right here. But the design is spot on from two masters of the craft. $199 for this, and for that you're getting an entirely USA-made product, S35 VN steel, G10 handles on this one, or actually, sorry, this is a fine red micarta, and even comes with, a blade safe to keep the edge secure, and these are made in the USA as well. So that's the whole package right here, and the design is sort of a crossover between a Santoku and a Kuritsuke. We're getting into the weeds a little bit there, but hey, isn't that half the fun, right? Balance is superb. The thickness of the blade is spot on. It's not super thick like some Western chef knife styles, but it has the strength you need thanks to the premium steel, and it has the cutting potential of that nice thin grind as well. The tip is really nice. The grip is really nice. Like I said, the balance is perfect, and it's got that thing that I learned from Ethan myself, that nice landing on a cutting board. It doesn't clunk down. So as a professional tool, this is something that can save wrists over time, really help alleviate the carpal tunnel if you have a tool that's actually designed to work. And price-wise, at $199, I would wager to say that if you are a professional kitchen worker and you have need of your own cutlery at your job, this is not a cheap knife, but I'd say it's within reach and worth reaching for a tool that could really elevate your game, especially on something that is going to be doing 90% or more of all the work you're going to do. I'd say this is within reach and well worth the investment. And of course, if you're not one of those folks and you're a home cook who just wants real quality stuff and you've got the money to afford it, definitely check this out. I think I'm going to be taking this one home myself. Hey, you know what's cool?
Ice.
I shouldn't have expected any other sort of answer from you, Thomas. I was gonna say, you know what's cool is there's a lot of fixed blades on the table, and I'm a fixed blade guy. But if you're not, we do have another flipper here for you. Two, in fact. The first is from the designer Kombu, who Seth was able to interview at Blade Show at the Bestech booth. This is a Bestech knife called the Seraph. All premium, all titanium for the handles, M390 for the blade. Really cool shape. $289 for this. Blade, as mentioned, is M390, 3.66 inches long. I like the swooping plunge line where the finish changes. You've got satin finished on the flats, more of a, what would you call that actually? It's kind of a patinaed finish. A grayer finish in any case on the main flat grinds there.
Gray wash?
Sure, we'll go with gray wash, Thomas. Why not? You know what else is cool? Snow.
And Kool-Aid.
And Kool-Aid. Even when it's warm, it's cool. I'm sorry, everyone out there in YouTube land for these shenanigans. Shall we continue? I thought so. It's a really stinking cool blade shape. I like the flare of the belly here where it comes down. You've got really distinctive styling on that clip point blade. And speaking of distinctive styling, kind of like the Carbon we looked at the beginning, the handles are the real star here. I mean, check out the intricate shapes you've got going on the front there. I like the oversized, stylized pivot, creating this big circle as a kind of a design element. Nifty backspacer, cool, massive milled titanium clip there on the back with the same gray washed finish that Thomas likes so much. So flavor-wise, there are other flavors available if you want a little more color injected into this. I really like the dark bronze titanium version with that comes with a black stone washed blade. Anyway, they're really sweet. Let's check out the action. Flipping, quite good. Let's check out the use of the fuller for the reverse flick. Also, quite good indeed. As we've come to expect from Bestech's premium products, this is no different there. It hits all the marks quite nicely. All right, everything up to this point has been, even for things that I think are good value, has been fairly expensive. Some may think this is a fairly expensive knife given the size of it. This is the mini Korvid. Some new versions of this from Kansept have just hit, and this is coming in at about $80 right now. For that, you got aluminum handles and a red Damascus blade. No, red aluminum handles and a Damascus blade, sorry. And that's gonna be a simple stainless Damascus here. You can also get this same red version with a 154 cm blade instead. That's gonna run about $62. So you can save a bit of money that way. The Damascus is priced a little bit higher. And there's some other really wild handle versions you can check out at the link below as well. But what are you getting? You're getting a 1.5 inch or thereabouts cleaver shaped blade on a tiny flipper handle. No pocket clip, it should be mentioned. Could make a good 5th pocket carry. And oh no, you know what I just realized? It's a front flipper too.
Womp womp.
Channel regulars know I'm not the best at front flippers, so I'm not gonna try it yet. Standard flipper works well. And the problem with front flippers on a small knife, if you have slightly larger than average hands especially, is they get really tricky to use. Before that though, let's try the reverse flick. Again, this is gonna be really tricky given the size, but as you can see, it is doable. Enough stalling, now I gotta try the front flip. Let's see. Oh, see, that's the thing, there's so little to hold on to, my finger got in the way of the flipper tab actually moving out of the way. So let's do it like this maybe. No, that feels dangerous. Okay, it's doable. I'm not happy about it, but it's doable. Check out the mini Korvid. How about something that's truly affordable on the table today? Acta Non Verba has recently released a GRN version of their tactical neck knife, the M6. And here it is, and it is $15. And it is crazy lightweight. It is 0.4 of an ounce. You've got the same Wharncliffe style blade as the original, about 1.5 inches long. But again, this is not steel. This is injection molded, not designed for opening boxes all day, but designed to be that last ditch self-defense item you need. That's literally going to take up, figuratively going to take up no weight when you carry it. It is, however, I should mention, not something that is made to be an undetectable knife. There is actual metal in the nylon matrix of this, and you can actually prove that here. Set it on the table. I've got some magnet over here. This is quite a bit of magnet. I got 3 stacked together, and here, listen. That's a lot of magnet. And it can pick up this item right here. It's not going to hold it under its own weight, but there is some metal in there just to show you what's going on. But the design of it is pretty clever. You've got 2 arms instead of a typical 1 arrangement in most push daggers, and the reason for that they tell us is it's much more stable in your grip, less likely to twist or slide out of the way when you strike with it. And this oversized hole right there in the middle is designed in the heat of whatever adrenaline-filled situation you might need to draw this in, being able to reach your hand, slap your hand on top, and just drag out. Your middle finger should find that hole pretty easily. There's nowhere else for it to go. So there you go. 15 bucks. It comes with a small blade guard right here, as you can see, but no actual sheath. The sheath is an optional extra. We do have those as well. And they're about 6 bucks to add that on. So all in, you're at like 21 bucks for the pair of these right there. Next up, from Acta Non Verba, the M25. This is kind of, in my opinion, kind of their take on that classic 5-inch pilot's survival knife genre. It was designed in collaboration with, let me get this right, the 25th Anti-Aircraft Missile Regiment from Strakonice. A Czech Republic unit, I am assuming, because these are made in the Czech Republic, of course. Like the blade shape, it's about 4.3 inches long. It doesn't quite hit that, that 5-inch length, but it's a really good length for actual utility. Maybe not direct, hand-to-hand combat like some of their other designs that they've worked with other military units on, but general utility to get you from point A to point B. And to that effect, they've actually got some little markings on the spine of the blade that are designed to correspond to actual map measurements that unit used, the actual paper maps. That's pretty cool. Sleipner steel blade, kind of a almost a Canadian belt knife style elliptical shape, high flat grind, not too thick, not too thin, just a really great cross section for outdoor bushcraft, hunting, emergency survival type of use. And the thing that I love about what Acta Non Verba is doing is check out that handle. Beautiful. Not just a simple slab here, it's designed to actually be held the way human hands are built anatomically. I like that a lot. The milling on the micarta here gives you a little bit extra grip, which is quite nice. The tang does sit proud of it a little bit, but it's crowned over, so no hot spots to worry about there. And I like the little pry tip there at the back, giving you a little bit of extra utility. It just feels great. The sheath for this bad boy is Kydex. Rather thick Kydex, as you can see, quite sturdy. Comes with 2 of these MOLLE compatible straps here on the back. You can use that quite easily with a belt, of course, as well. You don't need actual attachment system, or a MOLLE system, I should say. And let's check out the hole spacing. If you want to throw a tech lock on there, you could do that, because that hole spacing is going to be compatible with that. All of this for 188 bucks, in my opinion, is not cheap, but good value. All right, let's go wild now with the fixed blades. We've got new M14 Toe Poppers from Todd Hunt in stock, a couple of them. These are featuring new bolted on handle versions that he's made. And this one I think is just very cool. Check out that wood, slightly dyed green. This is kind of cool how this stuff works. They'll put this sort of thing under pressure, under vacuum pressure to take the dye. And sometimes you get a piece of wood that won't actually take it throughout the whole piece. And you get some, in my opinion, rather cool looking stuff right here. We're calling this stabilized, because it is stabilized, spotty green wood. That's what it says on the, who put this on the website like that?
It's descriptive.
So I'm not sure what kind of wood, it looks kind of like maple. You've got a little bit of that curl going on, but I can't confirm. It's stabilized spotty green wood. Oh, sorry table. But what do you got here? You basically got a smaller scaled down version of the M18 chopper that Todd Hunt is so famous for making. And it kind of brings it closer in line to the size of a classic tracker style knife. Tops, of course, makes the Tom Brown version of that right now. And it's a cool thing. You got a little bit of chopping capability thanks to the almost 6-inch blade here and the flare at the top, or flare at the front, convex ground, hollow ground here at the back for finer work, and it still works in kind of spoke shave or draw knife fashion. The hole here at the end is not necessarily meant for hanging. It's meant for getting up there and using that tip very effectively. And the way you would do that on the larger knife is you would actually wrap the lanyard around your arm back here to support the weight, and you could really get some fine work going. That's also an option here if you want. The front edge can be used kind of chisel fashion. Great, I think, like butchering and game processing perhaps. But despite the looks here, it's actually a pretty versatile design, or at least I found that to be the case with the larger knife, which I have used. It can work well at game processing. This section right here offers a lot of belly for skinning type of work. Really cool as an option for an unconventional survival knife, perhaps. Or just a cool knife in general. Check out the sheath. Here it is. Nice, robust leather. I mean, look how thick that is right there. Very high quality overall. $425 for this one, but we've got some G10 versions of this knife also at $375, which I believe is the lowest price we've ever had on an M14. Previous versions that we've had of these have been full handmade customs. So if those have been a little bit out of reach, that should help bring it down a notch a little bit for you. Same handles, actually. We've also got a selection of Yumas from Todd Hunt, which is a more conventional, about a 4¼ inch drop point blade for about $295. This is the gray G10 version, and a few different flavors are available if you're not into the whole gray aesthetic here. But the handles are very comfortable, not super wide, but the contouring is just right, and it fits quite nicely. Even for my slightly larger than average hands, you can see I've got a little bit of space left over, so big hands or hand size like me with a pair of work gloves, no problem. And how can you go wrong with about a 4-inch drop point for just all around general utility? High flat or full flat grind here, about 1/8 of an inch thick. One of those kind of do it all types of things for sure. Next up, one more fixed blade, and then one more folder, and then one more something else. We have recently added some new items from Sakai. This one is fairly expensive. This is the Kimun Kamuy 2 fixed blade. $450 for this bad boy right here. For that, you've got a 4.33 inch drop point blade, Damascus cladding with a VG10 core. Looks gorgeous, especially with this kind of rough forged style finish on the outer layer right there. There you can see the core of the steel. Handles are G10. The design is super graceful. I mean, really, really nice lines going on right there. As far as usage, to me, this feels all about being a hunting knife. The grip itself is very instructive as to how it wants you to hold the knife. Other like carving grips or, bushcrafty stuff, not the forte of this handle, although you could do it in a pinch, especially if you choke up into that finger choil area. That would be the way to do it if you need to press it into those types of uses, but just a super classy feeling knife overall. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's built nicely, it feels good, it looks the business, and it has a sheath over here somewhere. Stand by. But yeah, here it is. Classically styled leather with snap there on the front for some extra retention. Nice thick welts on that. And you're ready to go. Made in Seki City, Japan. All right, that is not an affordable knife. How about an affordable Sakai? The most affordable knife on the table, as opposed to knife-shaped object, which we already looked at. We've had versions of their money clip in stock before with fancier engraved or artistically designed handles. But for even a little bit less money than those and a more general purpose style overall, for $53, the Sakai money clip. Comes with a 1.6 inch blade, VG10 stainless steel, frame lock of also stainless steel in this case. Nice slim profile, broad clip there to fold up your dollar bills or whatever else you want to clip it to. And it's just a nice, classy, cool, non-threatening little box cutter. Office knife, fifth pocket knife, could do far worse than something like this. If you want some of the fancier versions, we'll leave a link to the whole series below. There's some really cool patterns that you can get these on. Those start at about $65. You can get them with Damascus blades as well for about $82. And kind of that kind of range is what you're looking at. All right, last but not least, not a knife, but a really cool piece of gear from Prometheus Design Works. I'm really liking this. Not cheap. This is milled and custom fitted titanium going on here for about $95, but it is simply a small survival flint striker. But there's more going on than you might suspect. First off, we have, screwing off the back here, the knurled end cap. You can use the actual keychain attachment point as a flathead screw to open this up. There's some extra flints stored inside, which is pretty cool. And then this interesting shape they've got going on right here. And again, this is a single piece milled out of titanium right here, so it's very sturdy. It's designed for wrapping cordage around. Not paracord or something like that, but like nano cord or fishing line or something like that. Just a really cool little survival item for cool surviving or warm surviving, because you can make a fire. That's a tagline, right? Oh my gosh. I like it. I like it a lot. Anyway, that is all we've got for today. Let me know what you thought down in the comments below. Sorry there wasn't a lot more affordable stuff on the table this week. That just happens to be what was new this week. Maybe next week will be a little more balanced. But anyway, if you want to get your hands on any of these knives, check out the links in the description to take you to KnifeCenter.com. While you're there, don't forget about our long-running Knife Rewards program, because the least we can do when you buy one of our knives today is give you some free money to spend on your next one. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center. That's Thomas behind the camera. We're signing off. See you next time.